You see them grinding 24/7 and suffering till they get their work done. And you think, that is discipline. So, you try to force yourself to be that tough. But by day 3, you are exhausted. You crash. And you feel like you are just too weak to succeed. But here's the truth. You don't need to suffer to be productive. Sustainable discipline is not about pain. It is actually about being lazy. We aren't going to fight your laziness. We are going to use it. I'll even show you a psychological rule that forces you to work just to escape your own boredom. But first, we need to check your hardware. To understand how our brain was wired, let's go back to 50,000 years ago. There were 2 cavemen who lived together, Dave and Larry. Dave was the energetic one. He was the original hustler. He moved a lot, he ran laps around the camp, and he burned thousands of calories every single day. But Larry, he was the lazy one. He sat by the fire doing absolutely nothing. In fact, Larry only moved when he was either chasing a lion or was being chased by a lion. Then the winter came. Food became scarce, and Dave was in trouble. His high-energy lifestyle required way too much food, and he couldn't find enough calories to keep his engine running. Eventually, he didn't make it. And Larry? His laziness was his superpower. He conserved his energy by doing absolutely nothing, and thus, he was able to survive the famine. And here is the reality. You are not related to Dave. You are the direct descendant of Larry. Evolution doesn't select for hustle. It selects for efficiency. You are biologically wired to save calories. So when you try to force yourself to work hard for no immediate reason, your brain pulls the emergency brake. It isn't trying to sabotage you. It thinks it is saving you from starving to death. You will never win a fight against 50,000 years of biology. So stop fighting it. Let's trick it instead. So, how do we trick a brain that acts like Larry? You have to realize that humans are like water. We always follow the path of least resistance. And right now, your path of least resistance leads to the couch. Why? Because scrolling your phone takes 0 calories. But being productive is hard, so your inner Larry chooses the easy path every time. You might think that high achievers have more willpower and they just force themselves to work. But in reality, they don't. They just design their life so that doing the work is actually the lazy option. If I put my phone on my desk, I have to use willpower every minute to ignore it. That drains the battery. But what if I throw it in the other room? Now getting distracted means actually getting up and walking. Too much work, whereas staying in the chair and working becomes the lazy choice. There is actually a scientific number for this. Psychologist Sean Acker calls it the 20-second rule. He found that if you can make a bad habit just 20 seconds harder to start, your brain will usually give up. It's simply not worth the energy. So, don't just put the phone away, put it in a drawer, put it in another room. Take the batteries out of the remote. Make the activation energy just high enough that your inner Larry looks at it and says, too much effort. This is called inversion. You make the bad habits painful to start and the good habits impossible to miss. But how do we start the good ones? You need to use a technique chefs call mise en place. It means everything in its place. You have to realize that you are actually 2 different people. You know that feeling at 11 p.m. when you look back at the day and regret wasting it. You suddenly have total clarity and you tell yourself, tomorrow, I'm going to change. Tomorrow, I'll be disciplined. And in that moment, you are Dave. But in the morning, just as the alarm goes off, Dave is gone, nowhere to be seen. And you are Larry again. You are tired, groggy, and you just want comfort. So instead of trusting that motivation will last, you have to use that nighttime energy right now to set the trap for the morning. Pack your gym bag, open the laptop, decide exactly what you will do in your first hour. If you wait until morning to decide, Larry will talk you out of it. But if the stage is already set, Larry will just follow the script because it's the path of least resistance. You just wake up, trip over your gym bag, and fall into the workout. Make the slope so steep that you simply slide into success. So, the trap worked. You are sitting in the chair ready to work. But simply being there isn't enough. Getting your body to the desk is easy. Getting your brain to actually work requires a different trick. Famous novelist Raymond Chandler wrote some of the greatest books in history, but he flat out refused to force himself to write. He refused to use willpower to get the work done. But instead, he scheduled 4 hours every morning where he gave himself full permission to be lazy. He told himself, "You don't have to write. You don't have to work." Sounds great, right? But there was a catch. He didn't have to write, but he wasn't allowed to do anything else either. No reading, no letters, no distractions. He just sat there staring at the wall. And this is where we trick biology. Remember Larry? Your inner Larry loves saving energy, but he has developed a weakness. He is addicted to stimulation, which he usually gets from your phone. But in this empty room, that cheap dopamine is gone. So, after 20 minutes of staring at a wall, your brain starts begging for something to do. And suddenly, writing that essay or analyzing that spreadsheet becomes the most exciting option in the room. And that was Chandler's rule. 2 choices: write or do nothing. You don't force yourself to work. You just make working the only escape from the pain of doing nothing. Now, you don't need 4 hours to do this. Just start with a microdose. Set a timer for 10 minutes and make a deal with yourself. I am allowed to do absolutely nothing. Just sit there. Stare at the wall. I guarantee you won't last 5 minutes. Your brain will get so desperate for stimulation that doing your taxes will feel like playing a video game. Use boredom as a weapon. Don't look for motivation, just cut off the escape routes. When you stop fighting your own brain and start designing your life around it, the resistance disappears. You stop worrying about falling behind because you are finally moving forward on autopilot. But even with this system, there is a specific biological glitch that happens at night where your brain turns against you. You might find yourself doom scrolling for hours, even though you are exhausted. Click here to find out why your brain hates you after 11 p.m. and how to fix it.